So thank you so much for taking time to speak with me. You were my favorite part of Marathon, honestly, and I thought the movie was hilarious. I've spoken to a couple of the other stars from it as well, but I was really, really excited to speak to you because you kind of have a different storyline than everybody else. Well, I mean, I guess everybody's storylines are different, but you're a bit on the outside.
Sure.
So my first question, I guess, was did you film all of your stuff for the film in the same day, or at least most of it, since a lot of it was you in the home setting?
Yeah, so I do remember that it was, I think, a weekend that we got to do everything that Emmy Lou needed to do for the movie, because it is like Emmy Lou opts out of the marathon. So everything's like in the house. And so it was really fun. I think it was like the crew, and then Anthony, Keith, and I were just like in a house for the weekend, just shooting all the bits for a person who doesn't want to run the marathon, which I relate to, for sure. So that was really fun.
So when you were doing your own marathon and you were in the like on the couch falling asleep slash watching I think it seemed like a
Uh
law
huh.
show. Was there an actual show that was on, or was it just all audio that was kind of implemented to make it seem like you were watching a real show?
There was nothing on the TV. It was actually kind of fun for me because they also didn't. I don't know if they knew that it would be this like lawyer, funny spoof show. Perhaps they did, but they weren't like playing any of the audio that you hear in the movie. It was just Keith and Anthony sort of being like, okay, this is going on, react like this. And so it's like reacting to nothing on a blank screen, which I enjoy more than you would think. So that's what that was.
That's the Black Mirror, man. You got to watch out for that. That's
Yeah,
that Black
man, you're
Mirror.
right. I was getting trapped and I didn't even know it.
So I thought you were such a clown in the movie, and then it's funny because when I did research on you, like your Instagram is like child clown or something, and I was like,
Yes.
that's perfect. She is a clown. So I wanted to ask you, were a lot of your things like one takes, because you seem like you have, for lack of a better word, like swagger on camera, like a bit of more comfortability to where it seems like you just, I don't know if you're yourself or you just kind of get into that like silly kind of I don't want to say stoner, mindset, but like you kind of have that vibe going on. And is that generally you, or and like if so, was it a lot easier to do one takes for this character, or is that something that you kind of had to get into the mindset of?
That's a good question. And thank you for all the compliments that were in the middle there. Just wanted to say. I am pretty silly, but less like stoner swagger silly. So that was all like deciding what a lazy person who is chilling and smoking instead of running the marathon. I feel like me, I would be like, no, I can train for the marathon. I can do it. I'm more a little like type A anxiety type of person, but I can also be like really cool, chill. I don't remember if they were one take. It does seem like it was like we rolled a bunch because Anthony and Keith are like big on improv, so they would just be like, "Okay, go again and say something else," or they'll be like, "Oh, this will be funny. Riff on like this idea," and so the camera was just there. And then I just got to play, which is more fun. And so it was. They were like long takes, and then they could cut whatever they wanted because the mockumentary style. You can just pop in whatever funny things. It was the environment of the set that helped with all the improv and stuff.
So have you seen the film yet? Because I don't want to give you any spoilers. The others I talked to hadn't seen it yet.
Yeah, I haven't seen the full film, but I have seen a few Emmy Lou scenes. So I know a little bit of like what happens to me, but not everyone else.
So, like, without spoilers, you did film a small part that kind of recapped your character for what there is in the future. Was that planned in the script to begin with because it kind of ties into the marathon show that you were watching, or is that something that they kind of added on to the end, if you know what I'm talking about?
I think I know what you're talking about, and I'm pretty positive it's all scripted on purpose like that. But haha, they tricked you, made it seem like it wasn't. So they did a
Yeah.
good job.
Yeah, it was awesome. So I wanted to know, and I don't know. I don't know where you guys filmed this, but there was a part I believe where you actually smoked in the movie, and I wanted to know if you actually smoked or if that was because I mean it looked real, but I want to know if there was some movie magic there or if that was generally you getting in the mind of a stoner.
That's a good question. It was definitely movie magic. It was not real at all. They actually like handed me this prop and they were like very careful to be like, don't worry, it's not real. Like very conscious of if I was anti weed and then they like gave me the pipe and I was like doing stuff with the lighter and they're like, do you smoke? And I'm like, sometimes I do. So they're like, oh, we didn't need to be so delicate. It was fake, but they were surprised that I was like packing it with the lighter or whatever. I was like, I don't know, I watch TV. I can like pretend to be this person. I've smoked a little bit, sure. So it was movie magic, but I think we sold it.
That's hilarious. When you had filmed your stuff for this prior to COVID, I think, right?
Yes, yeah.
So you have had, even though this project is just now coming out, I know that you've had other things that have happened in the meantime. Like, for instance, you just dropped something on Netflix recently, didn't you?
Yes, just last week, a rom com called Good on Paper that is written by and starring Eliza Schlesinger came out, and that was something that I was in also pre pandemic. So,
Oh, so that was also pre-pandemic.
mm-hmm.
I want to know, was that also pre-pandemic for your Lucifer scenes? Because
That's
I had
funny. Yeah,
well, before
go
you tell
ahead.
me the funny story, I was doing research on you, and I had seen that. I think you said your father had the picture
Oh,
of you as Gabriel on his Facebook, and
yeah.
like I have a lot of family over in Jordan, so like I thought it was funny that it's like, oh, they don't check immigrant parents for spoilers, but there you were in full outfit in the photo
Mm-hmm.
and everything, and I thought that was wonderful. And personally, I'm not a huge I'm not all caught up on Lucifer, but my mother-in-law is. So we were like checking out a couple of your scenes in it. And
Fun.
can you give me like a little bit of insight onto when you did that and the secrecy surrounding the role?
Totally. So I wasn't very familiar with Lucifer, so I didn't know it was a huge like no spoilers allowed sort of a thing for when new angels are introduced. When I auditioned, it was with like some fake sides where they changed some names and stuff, so I didn't really know what was going on. But we filmed the first episode I was in pre-pandemic, and then we were supposed to shoot the second episode I'm in like that week in March where everything shut down. So that had to be on hold. So we filmed that just a couple months ago once Hollywood and stuff in LA started coming back and everything was like feeling better and safer. So we did that one after. So one pre, one post pandemic episodes.
That's cool because I watched your bits in both of those episodes. But it seems like even though they were, recorded separate, you have that same energy about you. And like again, I don't want to use for lack of a better word, swagger. I guess it's confidence. You have confidence in your character, even though she was just appearing alongside all these characters that are constantly regulars in the show. You made it seem like Gabriel was just like, oh hey, I'm here, I'm supposed to be a part of this, I'm normal, like it was just an everyday thing.
Mm.
So I wanted to know, like, obviously you weren't really geeking out about the role when you first got it because you weren't huge into Lucifer or like the Sandman lore, but since
Mm-hmm.
you were in the show, have you, and like no spoilers on whether or not you will continue to be, but have you like dug into that lore at all or gotten into Lucifer since you watched it, or is that still something that you kind of keep separate as a work thing?
Specifically for Lucifer, it is still separate and just a work thing for me. I have family that's super into it, so I get bits from them where they're like, "Did you know that this happened and this happened?" And I'm like, happy to know, but I haven't seen it. I if I'm gonna dig deep into a show, it's more like a spooky teen soap opera. So I don't know if I'll like everyone's a little too adults that are professionals for me. I love a messy teen spooky soap opera.
So you're more into like Sabrina the Teenage Witch or like Riverdale,
Yes.
I guess.
Yeah, you got it. You nailed it.
So to ask you a little bit personally, when did you initially start pursuing a career in entertainment? Because what I had read is that you like comedy, you dig cartoons, you also you So do have some writing experience, or at least that's something that you're interested in. So can you
Hmm.
kind of tell me about the trajectory of how you've reached here, where you started, and what your initial plan was?
Sure. I went to school, to college at UCLA for theater. So at that point, I think I was like, if I'm going to major in something, it was either going to be theater or math. I was really good at math and robotics that I did in middle school. But to me, when I graduate, I get the same amount of a degree that doesn't really result in a job, a blanket math degree or a blanket theater degree. So I was like, might as well go for the thing that brings me more joy. So I studied theater at UCLA. And as soon as I graduated out in 2014, I was already in LA and I was doing a lot of improv and sketch at UCB and Comedy Sports and taking classes like everywhere, IO, Second City Groundlings, whatever there was, but mainly at UCB. And so from there, I would be doing shows, and I used those shows as like my acting classes, where I also met people that I would write with or, collaborate on different shows with. And from there, I was auditioning here and there for film and TV, and it all sort of like melds together from then on. It's like doing live shows and then people see you there and are like, do this project with me here. And so that's sort of where I got started. It was a lot through improv and sketch for sure.
Well, now that you've reached this point, do you feel like there's something specific that like really brings you the most passion, like whether it be improv and sketch or just writing something on your own? Is there something that you feel like fuels that fire for you? Like
Yeah,
maybe a little higher
definitely.
than the others. Sorry, maybe just a
Oh,
little
no,
higher
no.
than the others. Obviously, you love everything that you're doing, I
Mhm.
imagine. But I wonder if there's something specific that kind of scratches that itch and makes you feel like kind of fuels you to continue going forward with that passion.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I guess my best answer for this is that I really enjoy. I call it team sports. I guess that translates to like any ensemble thing. So anything, any work together thing. Like you mentioned, writing by myself. I sort of loathe doing that. Anything I have to do alone, like I would never get into stand up. I tried it once, and I was like, I do not like a solo activity. I need a team sport. So like when I get to do improv and bounce off of other people, or when I get to do a show or a movie and it happens to be like an ensemble show or comedy, something like that, it's like Marathon, where even though I was by myself, I was aware that it is an ensemble comedy. Things like that. The group creative bounce off ideas fuel, which is easy to find everywhere. So I guess like that is what keeps me going because I can find that everywhere.
That's and I love that because I'm the same way. Like I'm a writer, but for me it's like being able to bounce off ideas and then like take somebody else's perspective and mold it. It's like that is fuel for the fire. That's gas. That
Mm-hmm.
moves me forward. Um, what do you have going on in your future? Like whether it be like your plans for where you plan to take yourself in the future, or like things that you've already kind of been involved in that haven't been released yet, whatever you're allowed to speak about.
Sure. Oh, this is fun. I am also a character on the Netflix show Atypical, and the final season of that is coming out July 9th. So that'll be coming out in soon. I'm really excited about that. That's a project I have coming up. Apart from that, it's a lot of like new shows that you may see or may not see because pilots still happen, things like that. My goals right now aren't like big and lofty in the sense that I'm like, I'm going to write my own thing and make it. Sort of, I'm still in a space where I'm like, I would love to be a piece in somebody else's puzzle. So any other shows or movies that need me to fit as a piece in their puzzle, I'm happy to go along with. And I've got a couple of those lined up, and we'll see.
Is there a genre outside of comedy? Because like I know that maybe Lucifer's only kind of comedy, but you in the things that I've seen you in, you lean really kind of more into comedy as far as your character. So at least the way your delivery is definitely
Mhm.
comedic. It's got great comedic timing, and I wanted to know, is that specifically something that you're looking to continue with comedy, or would you like to blend your specific like comedic chops with a genre that you haven't touched yet, like horror or something else that comedy could lend, a little bit to in a genre mash?
Yeah, that's so funny that you bring up horror because when you said that, I was like, oh, that's fun, but I've never manifested that for myself. I would love to, be in a horror movie. I think it leans comedy because I look like this and I sound like this, and I can't really change what I look like and sound like, and I don't really want to. So things that I play often do lean comedic just because of my tone and my appearance, and I don't mind that one bit. But I do love. A lot of like, I guess indie movies and shows do this where it's sort of like a really niche, heartfelt slices of life that are funny because they're like true to a very specific group of people or experience. And I love to work on more projects like that. I think that would be, like really true slice of life niche stories. I like those a lot.
With your love for cartoons, have you considered doing any voice acting? Is that something that you kind of aspire to? Because that's also like an ensemble project. Even if you might do
Mm-hmm.
your lines alone, you're delivering them for an ensemble production. And is that something that either you've
I think it
dabbled in a
was.
little bit? Oh, I'm sorry. Am I back?
I'm good. I'm back.
Oh, okay. You can hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Is there like have you done any dabbling in animation voice acting, or is that something that you're hoping to pursue with your love of cartoons?
I have dabbled in it, and it's been exciting every time, but it's not something that has ever gone past the pilot phase, which is fine because I just love to be able to have those opportunities. I do voiceover the least, but I do have the most fun. It's just so fun to be in the booth and you get to do whatever you want with your body because no one's really watching you. And then it's all about just how your voice comes out. And that is very exciting. I hope to do more voiceover for sure, but I don't know what that'll look like.
I think you've got a really distinctive voice. I mean, like you said, oh, I got this look, I got this voice. It's comedy.
Yeah.
Man, I think you've got a voice that definitely lends to voice acting. That's
Thanks.
no, that may sound like a backhanded
No, no, no.
compliment. Like,
I've heard it before. I don't think so. No, no, you're good. You're good.
but I wanted to mention I loved the little bit on your, I think it was maybe your Instagram bio that said like you're just trying to get famous enough so that your last name doesn't autocorrect. That
Yeah.
I felt that in my soul. It's like I have all these H's in my name, and I saw yours, and I was like, oh my god, somebody I can relate to a little bit.
Yep. Yes. It's
um,
like been a conscious thing to use my real name in a lot of like coffee shops or sandwich places. I decided this like 3 years ago because I used to just be like Kimmy, and I was like, no, my name exists. I need to say my name when they ask for my name. So I say Kimia now, but I have this thing where I like have to immediately spell it even though nobody asks me. So I'll be like Kimia, Kimia. And so this is the tick I have now, but it's better that I'm using my actual name.
is the last name pronounced Behpoornia?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Behpoornia.
Behpoornia. Okay, I wasn't sure. Yeah, I thought it was a beautiful name, and
Thank you.
I was curious. Is it Indian? Or what is your background?
I am 100% Persian.
Oh, wow, I'm Jordanian. That's
Yeah.
nice. Um, to wrap up, I always like to give people a little platform to kind of plug anything they'd like to plug, share social media, maybe any websites you'd like to direct your fans to, just anything that you'd like to say. I like to give people a little kind of platform that's not just answering what I want to hear and kind of saying what you want to say.
Sure. If you would like to follow me on social media, I mean, you mentioned it, but I am at Child Clown on Instagram. And I brought it up briefly, but please do check out Atypical season 4 when it comes out if you're into that. And if you're not, it's a sweet, delightful show. Get into it. And then if you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm there occasionally. It's at Child Clown underscore because some other freak wanted to be Child Clown on Twitter.
Some other clown.
Yeah.
So then I was going to wrap, but real quick with Atypical, is your character called Abby? I know I was looking.
Yes.
Can you tell me about the size and the scope of your character in this new season, even if there's no spoilers involved?
Sure. It's similar to the role Abby played in season 3, where just like a buddy and a confidant for the main character Sam. So if yeah, no spoilers. Abby functions similarly, where like she's there for Sam, and I think in season 4 actually goes on to support some of the other characters in the little ensemble there. So just a little bit of a support friend.